Welcome back, enthusiasts, tuners, and everyone with poor judgment that came back to watch me do work on my aging fleet. Today, we're going to cover a special vehicle in the fleet. I'll give you a hint. It's the only one with the V8, and it's a truck. If you guessed 2008 Toyota Tundra, yeah, you're right. Go home, you nerd.
Disrespect.
Were those too simple? Because this is where simplicity ends, and the complexity of working on your own vehicle begins. In all seriousness, this is a pretty easy vehicle to work on, but you know how that story goes with wrenching. The aim of these next two videos is to bring this vehicle up from the recession year that it was birthed in, looking at you, 2008, and try to elevate the experience. One might even say, lift it. This simple Toyota truck has absolutely changed my outlook on trucks, and I am so grateful to have had a vehicle that allows me to take my hobby to new locations and levels. Whether it's towing, hauling, or just a comfortable road trip companion, this Tundra has never once left me stranded, even in the toughest of environments and conditions. Towing my 350Z and heavy-ass trailer 26 hours to Laguna Seca and back comes to mind. But this truck has certainly seen some abuse and some weathering along the way. I want to not only bring back the mechanical certainty to the Tundra, but maybe also add some upgrades and updates along the way. We'll start with maintenance, and then follow with the fun, visual upgrades and mods. So, without further hesitation, let's get into this build. We're going to start here with the front brakes. As you can see, there's a lot of rust built up on this wheel, and that is because there's something wrong with the caliper. Let's take a look at this. Yep. There we go. Looks like the back of a salmon. I guess the outside of a salmon. The back is only when you cook it from the inside. It's all scaly and torn up. No material left at all. I guess what I really could be doing is just taking it off, because I'm replacing the rotor, obviously. Well, we can see a little bit of a discrepancy here. One pad still has a fair amount of material left, and the other was down to the backing pad and rubbing on the rotor. So in taking a look at the caliper, the pistons on the outer side, this side, are stuck out. So in reality we could rebuild that, but might just look at buying a new caliper and just being done with that. Went ahead and picked up two new calipers. The other side I might as well replace as well too. These were only about $100 after a discount code and core return fee. So pretty cheap, honestly. Yeah, you see that container there with oil in it that I'm going to use to catch the brake fluid? Well, you're going to see why that was a bad idea.
massive oil slick now covering some 600 square miles of the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh no.
I'm not a smart man.
Oh, that was so heavy. That's what I get for using a open pan. Watching past me, kind of half-assed attempt at cleaning this by throwing rags at it, it's kind of funny. Alright. Gonna be using some good old Centric parts here. I always hear that they are like the supplier for, I think, Brembo, some of the OE stuff, I believe. Anyway, Centric is pretty good, but it's without paying that premium top shelf price. So, highly recommend looking into Centric stuff. Got some Centric pads here. We're going to try these out as well too, and see how they do. I believe this is the rear, actually. It's a really big drum. Opening up the other box to find out that I had ordered another set of rears was definitely a fun way to start this build.
3 days later.
Alright, so we got what we need here. We have our new rotors and our new calipers because guess what? Because don't forget, I'm a grade A dingus and I somehow ordered 2 sets of rear rotors and pads, so not my Call of Duty finest hour, and I've used that joke before. Run it back. So another thing that I'm noticing while I'm in here, of course, is that these Camberg coilovers, which are pretty sweet, and I think they were pretty expensive back in the day, they are very old and crusty and they are completely leaking. So it looks like this thing is blown. And I don't know that I can get a rebuild on it, so probably going to address that in a future video, but yeah, this is what we're looking at with the suspension. So that's going to need a redo as well too. Yes, I just did install it backwards. Really a very simple vehicle to work on. Okay, with that side done, I'm just gonna go knock out the other side. I'm not gonna film it because it's exactly the same as this. Unless it's not. And in that case. Alright, I didn't realize this top pin was in there, or this top clip I should say, but I went ahead and put that on this side. So I'm going to go back and redo the other side and add that clip. Alright, well now that the front brakes are done, let me step into the confessional booth with you. I lied to you. I know. I shouldn't have done it. But we're buying a Lamborghini.
Can you buy a Lamborghini with dirt?
Wait, I never lied about that. Anyways, I said we weren't going to do suspension in this refresh, but as you saw, those front coilovers were leaking, so we needed to come up with a solution for that. And why not now, when we're already in there and we're doing everything? So that leads me to everything here, which are these upper control arms sent to us by Flashark. I'm super excited about these. This is a new company that approached me to work with us. They had their trench coat and they just opened it up and had all the goods in there, just like that one kid from Recess. So we've got these control arms that are super nice. They're tubular and really nicely powder coated. They have these removable caps which allow you to access and replace the ball joint as well as grease it and service it from there. So really stoked on that. And then beyond that, we have our new top hats from KYB. We have bushings for the rear shocks, and then of course our actual shocks themselves, which are truly actually adjustable coilovers for the front and traditional struts in the rear. Now, it did cross my mind to get the coilovers on the truck rebuilt. However, it was a little bit hard to find information on rebuilding those because those are actually Camberg coilovers and they're pretty old at this point. They look like they've been on there for near the life of the truck. And when you look those products up, you don't find them anymore. I did actually find out that AFE reproduces those under the Sway Away brand. Now, I did also find out that they potentially rebuild those coilovers. However, I didn't get a response for a while on if they could rebuild them or not, and I just needed a solution. And speaking to Dave again at Speed Academy, that guy's a true influencer. I know he hates that word, but damn it, DP, I'm under your influence. So he recommended these iBox here, which I went ahead and ordered. He said they ride really nicely and are a great setup. So I went ahead and purchased those because I need to get this truck actually running and moving. I use the truck all the time for various things, so I couldn't wait around. But I actually did find out that you could rebuild those Camberg coilovers through AFE, and they quoted $225 per shock, so not bad. $450 to have the front rebuilt. Anyways, without further hesitation, let's go ahead and unbox these things and start working on the truck. These are nice. Nicely packaged. Okay, this is adjustable via this perch system. I've never used something like this before, but what it is it has different grooves, different channels here with one of these clips that actually slots into that, and then the perch sits upon that. This kit will get you anywhere from a 2-inch to a 3.1-inch lift. We're going to go with the middle setting here. That's going to be about a 2.5-inch lift, more or less matching the Camberg coilovers that were on the front. In the rear, we're just going to have a simple shock setup. With a game plan in place, and these old shocks looking dirtier and dirtier by the second, let's go ahead and jump in and tackle this thing. Getting these upper control arms that are torqued to 180 foot-pounds in a very limited space was very challenging to say the least, especially when done by yourself, trying to use a double wrench method. With the front coilover and upper control arm removed, we can go ahead and throw the new one in and get it bolted up. It's not often anymore that I have someone alongside me while wrenching these days, but my neighbor and friend Ricky stopped by to lend a hand. I forget how ridiculous some of these conversations can be, like learning that Herbie Hancock is the name behind the Beverly Hills Cop theme song. I can now rest easy. Now this is music to work to right here. Yeah, with a shark with a wrench inside of it. He got hongy.
Honky.
That boy hongy. Alright. Yeah, you can grease these from the top.
I took a jazz class in college. That's how I learned about Herbie Hancock.
I got your Hancock right here.
Got your hand. Touch the rod through the hole.
Oh man, the tail as old as time. This says left. Is that accurate?
Those are the beefiest control arms.
Yeah. Does anyone happen to know the 1980s movie Beverly Hills Cop? Who the composer was? Is he going to be at a bar trivia? Yeah, so while these Flashark arms are super nice in their materials, finish, and design, we're having a very hard time getting these to fit up to the frame mounts. Oh no. Knocked the camera over during that. Some Godzilla type shit. Anyway, so that was incredibly frustrating, but did make it work. I've got to get the bolt through, kind of center this bushing over here, and then run the bolt through. But I've got it held in place with actually what is a metal punch. Just kind of holding that in place while I do one side, and then coming over and prying on the inside of the bushing and giving it some deflection. I'm not focused on the right area. Putting some deflection on that bushing, pushing it inwards and prying outwards. This is actually hard to focus. Prying it outwards and...
I was a bit perplexed by this. I mean, it was off by millimeters trying to get this arm on, and eventually I did with just a little bit of prying. But out of curiosity, I actually got another set of arms from a different manufacturer and had the same issue. So I don't know what to chalk that up to. I still think these are great arms. I've used the truck quite a bit since then and did over 1,000 miles on a road trip and had no issues at all. They rode very nicely. So I would still recommend them, but just be prepared to maybe do a little bit of prying to fit it on.
Gonna have to take off this washer and put that in when we're closer to the bolt. It won't fit with the bolt through everything, so take the washer off. And then you have to kind of get your approach just right between all these damn hoses. So the bolt is going to kind of run through there and down into what I believe is focusing on the bushing, or the arm I should say, and yes it is. So we have to snake that through there.
With the long upper control arm bolts reinstalled, we'll now torque those to 180 foot-pounds. It'll make sense that we're installing wheel spacers in the next episode, but I promise there's actually a plan for these. In the included instructions, iBalk mentions that you need to run these two washers as spacers for the bump stop, otherwise you could damage the front coilovers. So it's very simple. Just grab yourself a pair of vice grips, twist that thing off, add those two washers, and then screw it back on. With suspension and brakes done on the front, let's go ahead and focus our attention on the rear and get this knocked out. These Bilsteins looked old, but they look even older next to the new shocks.
Wow, that is squished.
This is the only part of the rear where I really ran into any kind of difficulties, and that's because you have to get the shock angled and pushed up directly into the bracket and get the bolt through, and by yourself it's kind of hard. You can't really even push up on it because it's very stiff, so
Got to get a jack and align it just right and make sure that the jack or the wood you're jacking it up on doesn't get in the way. Gonna grease these slide pins so we don't have any kind of seizure on the caliper, and call it a day on these rear brakes. So with coilovers and rear struts, wheel spacers, and brake components installed, we'll call that a wrap on the underside of this truck. Hold up. Pause on the Tundra. I want to talk to you guys about something. So I'm sitting here in the garage working on this K24, and you know what? I have to work on it here in the front of the garage because in the back of the garage, there's a ton of shit. So that leaves me exposed to the sun when it comes in here, and that bothers me. What I want to do is I really want to be able to work on this thing at night because I live in Texas and it's super hot. But what I really need for that is good lighting. But I can't work in the day because it's hot. So what do? Well, that's where our friends at GJIA come in. Probably GJIA, but I'm going to call it GJIA. And you know what? We can all become gajillionaires if we open this box. Let's take a look at what's in here. Ah, the real goods here. Okay. So here is our powerful LED lighting provided by GJIA. So this is a really nice setup. This is all what feels like either aluminum or steel. LED panel itself has quite a few LED elements there. What's really nice too is a lot of these LEDs, they tend to be super bright, right? Maybe sometimes too bright. You have the ability to adjust the brightness of this, and it's got an adjustability knob control here on the end of it. You have a nice set of mounting instructions. There's several different ways to mount this if you want to. And of course, there is a mounting hook that is included here. So I'm gonna put this on because we're gonna be using it for our application today. Make sure that's in there. And secure this down with this securing screw. So what's nice too is you also have this extra security as well too. When you set this on a hook, you can lock it into place with this Allen screw here as well. Alright, I know this is kind of a silly setup right now, but it's not something that's going to be long term. I will probably only use this a handful of times like this before I move. So I don't want to commit to installing this and having to redo it later, but in the future this will be extremely nice to have. So I've just got it simply set up above the garage door, or below the garage door right now, and I've got the lock in place so that I know that is not going to come off. And at nighttime I'll be able to utilize this light and have some good illumination on what I'm working below it, and I can just take it down and pop it back up there for the meantime, but I hope to get this installed properly soon in the future. I've opted for the LED High Bay Light 14,000 lumen option with adjustable wattage. However, GJIA offers many different size and brightness solutions for whatever your needs are. With quality build materials, IP65 waterproofing, and backed by a 5-year warranty,
you can be assured that whatever lighting solution you choose will be a good one. If you're interested in their lineup of products, there will be a link in the video description. Now, back to the Tundra. Well, are you charged up after all that? Because my battery is not. So, one last order of business here. I need to change out the battery. I let my old Optima Red Top get damaged with a parasitic draw during the freeze back in 2021, and it's never been the same since, and it held in there for a long time, but died. So, let's go ahead and throw another one in there because I had a really good experience with the last one. They seem like really quality batteries in my opinion. In the next episode, we'll get to the really fun mods and take a look at the newly refreshed truck with everything we just did, and then get some driving and final impressions. I want to thank you all for watching, and please consider checking out the products featured in this video. These partners are a large part of the reason we do what we do, so show them some love and take a look at what they have to offer. Links are in the video description. Just a heads up, might be a while until you see me again. I'll be playing the Oblivion remaster.
You. I've seen you. Let me see your face. Gods give me strength.